Alright, so I just want to do a quick video and show how I'm powering all of my Lego projects that I do. I built this little benchtop power supply that sits on my desk and powers any of this. This is the Lego Dacta Control Lab. Let's see, that was maybe, I think, mid-90s. You got the Technic Control Center 2, had a power input, 9-volt train regulator. The RCX, as long as it's version 1.0, so that's the only time you want the 1.0, because it's got the power input that's very useful. The 2.0, I guess, was just cheaper for them to produce. That's really the only difference that I've seen. There may be internal differences, but I don't remember ever seeing any. The NXT, of course, this guy's got a bad screen, but you know, we're fine with that because you may have seen my other video where I've found solutions around that. This is the gray or dark bluish gray rechargeable battery that they released, and it is also powered by 9 to 12 volts AC, just like everything else here. So it charges just fine using either one of these. Like, these are the original Lego AC adapters. So you've got a 10.8 volt on tap toy transformer. This, I believe, came with the rechargeable batteries for the NXT. This you would find if you got it with a 9 volt regulator, train regulator, or with the Control Lab, and it's a 12 volt AC 7 VA rated transformer. And these are just transformers. There's really nothing else inside there, and I can pull this apart and show you what's inside here because there's not much to it. But you can see now it's providing just over 13 volts AC. That may fluctuate if I put more of a load on it. I'm not really loading it with anything right now because all these are kind of idle. But you know, I mean, it's just trying to get around having tons of AC adapters and extension cords and surge protectors and splitters and just all over the place. I'd rather just power it all from one place. All these cables I made myself. This is just plain white speaker wire. There's no markings on it at all, which I like for aesthetic reasons. So you do have to use a multimeter to make sure you're not that you've got the polarity correct, which I don't think it really matters in this case. But I've been told several times that AC power doesn't matter, but I've definitely had issues with things being out of phase, mostly in audio, with audio projects. But I'll keep them in phase. Maybe that helps with something. Maybe if you're trying to do something crazy, which I often do. So I try to do things by the book, and I use these cables for many other things. So I definitely make sure that the polarity is correct, and that, you know, the center of one of these barrel jacks goes to the center of the other end. So yeah, let me set all this to the side, and we'll pull this apart and kind of show what's inside there. Okay, so let's take this thing apart and see what we got going on inside here. So there's the front there, just a simple little label, 12 volts AC. I've got 8 barrel jacks here, power switch, power LED, and these, you know, binding post and banana jack. I don't ever really think I'd use them for anything, but they're there if I needed to. And it was also kind of an aesthetic thing, just to make it, instead of having these all the way across the barrel jacks, it adds a little bit of aesthetically to the project. And in the back here, this is a reclaimed ATX power. I forget the exact designation, but it came from maybe an old power supply or something. It's something you're gonna have tons of these plugs all around your house. So most of my projects, if I need an AC power input, I'll just pop one of those on there, and makes it a little easier because I have tons of I have extensions for those. I just use them for all kind of things, so that's why I have them. I don't remember if it's best to take off the top or the bottom. Probably the top. We'll pull the top off. See how it does. It's convertible. Pulling the top off. All right. And you can see inside there is not much in there. It is literally just a transformer, a 12 volt AC transformer, and the only other onboard component is a fuse. which is good to have. This came from just a standard AC adapter like this. It was rated for 2,000 milliamps, so full 2 amps of power. So I have some faith in it to power multiple things. I might play around with it today and try to hook some things to it, put a good load on it, run some motors, just to see if the voltage drops very much. This toggle switch just switches the 110 volt to AC. This is a 110 volt LED, so that's all on that side of the transformer. And then from the transformer, it just goes and snakes its way through to all of these. And actually what I did, let's see if I can really get in there and show you. This wire is not cut. I'll actually use wire strippers to cut around the wire in 2 places, and then use a knife to take that section out. And it just makes it a lot easier because you're not soldering 2 wires onto each terminal. You've just got 1 wire with a bare spot in the middle, and then it just jumps over to the next one and goes all the way through. I believe I used the same section of wire for the entire front panel here for all of those. So this has been great. I've loved having this on the desk. It kind of matches some other power supplies I've built. It used to be kind of in a stack with all my others, but now I have a dedicated room for my Lego stuff, so it just lives in here in the Lego room. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of give this idea to somebody, maybe if they're doing a huge layout for a convention and they have multiple train regulators or multiple RCXs controlling monorails or God knows what. This is a pretty cool way to do it. You could design your own thing and have it modular with plugs, and you know, it just makes things a lot easier than having surge protectors everywhere with these things just all over it, like, you know, just you know what I'm talking about, the huge AC adapter mess. I keep calling them AC adapters. Really, these are just transformers because they're not really adapting. But, you know, force of habit. But you just want to try to get a good transformer that can provide a good amount of power if you're going to power multiple things off of it. But just in general, I've found tons of compatible AC adapter transformers from thrift stores. Just look for 12 volts AC, either above 7 VA or maybe 500 milliamps ish up from there. Cause I was looking in to try to figure out how to 7 VA, what does that really mean? And it's technically, if it was DC and it was 7 VA, that'd be volts times amps and it'd be 7 watts. But in this case, it's 12 volts AC at 7 watts. And AC power is just a little different once you introduce reactants with capacitors and everything, and coils. It's just gonna, it's not really gonna be that number. I've heard a safe rule of thumb is to say half to 2/3 of the VA rating would be your wattage. But anyways, you know, just you can't overdo it. Like if this was a 5,000 milliamp instead of 2,000, it's not really going to make a difference. It's just good up to that rating. You're not going to overpower your other stuff, or at least I've never had any issues. This is something I've done for over 10 years. Just being kind of cheap and thrifty, and you know, I just like to make things convenient. So that's why I've done it that way. But it's definitely something I think could come in handy for the Lego community. If you know, it's a fun project to put together. I think most people that are really into RCXs and Mindstorms and all that kind of stuff, they're probably somewhat familiar with making their own cables, soldering for LEDs or whatever they're using. So this wouldn't be that far off for a project with that skill set. So I've got one more thing to show, but I've got to move the camera for that. So let me get over there. One more thing that can really come in handy is one of these splitters for your barrel jack power connections. This was just something I got. If you search CCTV splitter or power splitter, it just basically takes one barrel jack and goes out to 4 of them. I don't know if I've mentioned it. The size, I believe, is 2.1 millimeter. I'll just put it on the screen because I'm sure I'm gonna get it wrong. So that's like for this project, I've just got a transformer over there, and it powers a 9-volt regulator and an RCX. So the regulator is powering the lights up here. Let's see if I can show you what this looks like. The lights out. So you've got the lights up here, and it's powered from the 9-volt regulator, and then you've got these lights down here, which are randomly controlled from the RCX. I'll go more in depth into that because it's a little more complicated than that. But yeah, I just wanted to show that little adapter that's super handy. If you don't have to do any soldering if you want to power 2 things from it. Let's go back over here. This is the transformer I'm using, and no way that's going to focus. This is a 1000 milliamp 12 volt AC, so it does pretty good for powering a couple different things. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of thing, like and subscribe and comment and all that stuff. I mean, it helps keep me motivated to keep doing this kind of thing. Questions, I'll do my absolute best to get back and answer any questions you have. And that's about it. So thanks for watching, guys. Later.